Welcome to A.U.M. Ask Us Marketing. I'm the founder of Savvy Advisor Marketing, a digital marketing agency developed to build relationships between financial advisors and their target audience. I'm also your host for Ask Us Marketing. If you'd like to learn more about Savvy Advisor Marketing, you can scan the QR code to right side of my face. And then, of course, our episode is brought to you today by the Financial Planning Association. If you'd like to learn more about the resources that they provide advisors like you can scan the QR code below. So today we're talking about branding. If you've ever wondered what actually goes into building a standout brand, not the polished end result, but the messy, creative, tool juggling, decision fatigue part, then you've got me and Josh Passler from FinArt, and we're going to have a candid conversation about what really happens behind the scenes of branding. We're going to talk about the tools that we use, the biggest challenges we face, how branding gets built in the real world, and if we've got time, we're going to do a little Google roulette and review a brand live, unscripted, unfiltered, and totally in the moment, which is the whole idea of Ask Us Marketing. We are a live stream, so there are occasionally stutters, dogs barking, what have you. So please join with me, Josh.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hey, Josh, how are you today?
I'm good, wide awake, caffeinated, ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. Lucky. I've got my coffee here, still sipping along. It's one of those Mondays.
I can attest to that. Yes, it is.
Okay, branding. I freaking love doing branding work, especially in the beginning, because it's like you're starting from the ground up. I would love to talk about, especially with somebody else who does it, what are the parts that people don't understand unless they've actually done it?
I would say a lot of it is similar to like any job a financial advisor has, a financial planner has, and that's like the research, the discovery, the getting to know your clients. Like that is huge in like the first 2 to 3 weeks of any project that we take on. We have to understand the business and the person behind it or the team behind it before we can even move forward with what color or what typeface do we choose or what is the logo going to look like. So there's a lot that goes into it.
I would agree with that. I also feel like making a brand cohesive. In fact, I have a brand guide that I'm going to share for those of you joining by video, and I'll try to describe it audibly for those who join by podcast. But essentially, we go into a lot of detail: the strategy, the logo, the colors, the typography, graphic elements, how you would use it. And I was like, I think what people don't realize is that I'm trying to convey target audience, strategy, your brand voice, all with a visual, like with the visuals. And I think that's the part that gets lost, is like there's a lot there that you're trying to tie together and basically tell a story using visuals. So I feel like that's the part that kind of gets lost in translation. What about you? What tools are you using as you're building out brands for people?
Oh, there's so many. But I guess the first one that I can't really live without is Adobe Illustrator or the Adobe Suite. I use that for everything, especially when it comes to the visual design of a brand, like the logo, for instance. That is like the number one thing. I can't live without it. I mean, sure, I'm sure there's other ones that can replace it, but I've been using that for the past few years, and I've learned to love it and to use it very effectively. I do use Figma too from time to time, or actually, I don't know why I said time to time. I use it all the time, I should say. It's great for it's just very it's just very easy when it comes to the layout
Mm.
of Figma and
Ooh,
how you can make documentations on it.
yeah.
It's really good at co-working. If you have like a design partner,
Mm,
you guys can work in real time and see everything. Um, and I would say another thing too is I use a lot is like Loom um,
mm,
for
okay.
any sort of presentation. So if I'm not presenting in person,
Yeah,
I do like to present it on Loom. That
yeah.
way, whenever I'm presenting like a brand strategy
Mm,
or like a logo concept presentation, I'm giving them a couple of days to review that Loom video multiple times, and before they give their their feedback. So I do
mm.
like using Loom for that purpose.
Yeah, I freaking love Adobe, and I mean,
Mhm.
literally could not do my job without it. So the tools that I use specifically for branding would be Adobe Illustrator, like you.
Mhm.
Sometimes Adobe Photoshop,
Mhm.
for like the images I'm pulling in, and then if I'm adding some sort of blend layer to the image, and then lastly InDesign, because then I'm putting the whole thing together in a
Yeah.
document inside of InDesign. We use Zoom when we're going over stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and occasionally I might record video in like Google and then just send that over if it's not like a back and forth thing.
Right.
Which I think is kind of what you're doing with Loom.
Yeah, I do. We do. I do use Zoom
Yeah.
every week for client meetings. That has been big too. Also Notion for I use a lot of Notion for like the project management side.
Okay.
I They have AI notes now,
Mm.
which is incredibly nice because when I'm on Zoom, it'll just go ahead and record the notes so that I can really focus on the meeting and not focus on like how fast or am I getting everything down for them. And I will say, after a couple of weeks of using it, it is pretty accurate, pretty spot
Mm.
on. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I haven't used Notion.
It's good.
Yeah, actually, I'm guessing it's a note taker. Is that right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it can do almost anything. It's so customizable. It's crazy. Like you can use it just for note taking. You can use it to build like a very plain website. And I will say plain because it's not the most customizable thing. It
Mm,
can help you create forms. It really can do it all. It's almost like its own little source.
okay.
Very powerful.
Yeah. What about, do you use Canva at all?
I do from time to time.
Okay.
And one of the projects I'm working on right now probably is a perfect example of how I use Canva,
Mhm.
because I am passing on a lot of these brand assets to
Mhm.
clients. And so we created a folder for them so that they can, like anywhere from like a Zoom virtual background, right?
Yeah.
Down to business cards to, let's see, like letterheads
Mhm.
that we've created for them. So all like we have like 15 different canvases within that Canva folder for that project,
Mm,
and they have access to it all. And it's easy because now I would say Canva is very, very, very user friendly. So they can edit, they can change the colors, they can replicate, duplicate like any design that I
right.
created for them. And I would say that's the whole purpose, because if I were to give them like an Adobe Illustrator file or Photoshop file, it's overwhelming, it's too much, and it's too confusing.
Mhm.
Whereas Canva has made it very easy for anyone to take on any sort of Canva file, and
Yeah.
they're able to like, figure it out pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah. We don't really use Canva hardly at all,
Hmm.
at our agency, but we have created some items that people can use in Canva, just like
Yep.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Hmm.
In fact, when Canva first came out, one of my designers was like, "I despise it because I feel like people are taking my job and they don't have any experience." And so that was a whole thing that we had to
Yeah, that is
overcome.
true. But I mean, I know people get scared of that pretty easily, but there's a huge difference between knowing how to use the tool and knowing how to using it properly and effectively.
Mhm.
And Canva is very easy to use,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean you're going to be good at it.
Right, that's fair.
Yeah. So
I think she's gotten over that,
yeah, yeah,
feeling.
I get it. I get it. But Canva's good for that. It's like to pass on a project, for them to
Mhm.
use. Like
I will say one thing I found is that, we might have a very specific font and Canva
Mhm.
doesn't have it
Yeah.
available,
Mhm.
unless you're like paying for an upgraded
Mhm.
level.
Yep.
So we have run into some issues like that. I've
Mhm.
also heard that you can't like copyright things that you've created in Canva.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, like any logo that's created in Canva
mhm.
and Canva says it, it's not technically a logo.
Mm,
Like anything that you've used in Canva
mhm.
to create a logo is not a logo. You cannot trademark it because it is like a visual graphic element that has been
Yeah.
created by someone else, like anything that you've used. So there are some firms that I know that have a Canva logo that
Mhm.
they cannot do anything with.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, it does bite. So if you have a Canva logo, I would say it's probably time for a rebrand, a redesign, I should say.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about collaboration.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we have to navigate a lot, right? There's the creative vision,
Mhm.
there's the advisor's feedback, and then there's always compliance. Do you have any ways that you specifically navigate all of that?
It is a lot, but I think from the very beginning, if you have a process in place and during each meeting you have like a visual map to show where you're at,
Mm,
and what to do, I think a lot of things can be seamless. I try to do my best to schedule like the next call toward like at the end of the call that that we have with the client.
right.
Um, but I would say when there's multiple individuals on a team and they all have a say in what is being designed, it can be very frustrating. Not
Yes.
because you're listening to multiple people, but because they all have different styles and takes. So when you're designing by committee, it's
Mhm,
incredibly hard. So it's
mhm.
always important to really have have like the brand champion or the leader, someone in charge that has like the final say, or
Yes.
the one that consolidates all the internal feedback and says like, all right, here's what we ended up with, here's everyone in agreement. um
Yes.
that's the best.
100% agree with that. And it goes further than just the design. I think it's when you're creating anything,
Yes.
we can have one person or everybody's on the same page because that's
Mhm.
where the conflict comes in is I'm being told blue by person A and
Mhm.
red by person C and
Mhm.
who's actually making the decision.
Yeah.
And I think if that could be streamlined, it would just make everything smoother
Yep.
for everybody involved,
Agreed.
even
Agreed.
the client that we're working with.
Yeah.
Um,
I've had instances where like a creative director and the owner had different
mm,
opinions
yes,
on what they wanted.
yes,
And, I was just like, oh, this is very interesting and very difficult. And eventually, like, we all got on the same page, which is good.
yeah.
But I mean, that does come up and that does arise. And it's good that it does. That way, there's no questions being left on the table.
Mhm. What about, when your client is asking you to make a change that is not a good one?
I've come across that a couple of times.
Mhm.
And it wasn't anything major, I would say. It was just like a little bit of a refinement to a logo that I've already created. Like I gave them like two different directions,
Yeah.
and they came back and asking like for a switch. And I explained why one direction is one way and the other way is another way.
Mhm.
They're opposite and they should not mix with one another. And to prove my point, like, I don't wanna, like, say that and
Yeah.
then have them wonder, like, what if? So I will
Mm.
go ahead and create it and show them why it wouldn't
Mm.
work.
Mhm, mhm.
But there are times where clients will ask for something that I didn't think of,
Yeah.
or I'm like,
Mhm.
it probably doesn't look like in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work," but then I'll create it anyways because now I'm starting to get curious. I'm like, maybe I had tunnel vision and maybe I didn't see it.
Mhm.
Maybe they're seeing it from like the outside and I'm trying to figure out why that is. But there are times where clients will um, just, I mean, I know the clients are always supposed to be right,
Yeah.
but it's been a while since a client has been wrong. But there has been times where clients have absolutely been wrong. And the colors that I've used, and I've told them why we chosen those colors.
Mhm.
And one person like they were really like soft, warming, inviting colors.
Mhm.
And one person at the firm said it feels very hostile, and
Mm.
I was just like, I was like, what? And I started to doubt myself. I started to
Yeah.
think, like, what am I missing? Like, what did I do?
Right. Right.
So I started like showing it to everyone else. I'm like, am I wrong? Like, is this
Yeah.
not woman inviting? Is this hostile? Like, is it fear inducing? Everyone was like, what the hell? No. Like, so I was like, okay. But so there are times where clients can be wrong, but for the most
Mhm.
part, they are right. And not just that they're right, but we're on like the same, like we're on the same plane. We're like in
Mhm.
agreement with everything. So that's the best thing.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's the description, like, they're not describing what's they're
Wrong.
feeling or wanting. Yeah, yeah, like, maybe they used the wrong word there, So I think digging into that because sometimes,
Mhm.
when we're initially starting with branding, we have somebody tell us or they choose different adjectives to describe how they want the brand to feel, like
Yep.
casual versus formal.
Mhm.
And occasionally I'll have a client who picks two opposite ideas. And so we have to work through that. Like, what did you mean by this? Because
Mhm.
it seems to be opposite of this
Yep.
other thing that you've chosen.
Mhm.
So, there's a lot of working through that as well.
Yeah, the more descriptive that a client can be,
Mhm.
the better it is. Like the better off we're all going to be if they can, and they don't have to be very formal. They can be very informal.
Yeah.
They can almost tell me like it's in a conversation that we're having, right?
Right.
If they can just be very descriptive is the best thing. Like if they come back and give me a feedback that's very broad
Mhm.
and generic, I'll ask them to elaborate.
Mm.
And usually that does the trick. I'm like, can you please elaborate on what you mean by this?
Right.
That way I can truly see it. Like if they say like, like for instance, that one person said like this is kind of like fear inducing,
Yeah.
after, me like doubting myself and everything, I was like, wait a minute, like what's he referring to? Like what is he talking
Right.
about? I need to
Yeah.
figure this out.
Yeah.
So I asked him, hey, I just need you to elaborate. I need to tell me like what you're thinking.
Mhm. So what did he tell you?
He thought that and this it was a orange,
Okay.
and he said it looked like red, which it did
Mm.
not.
Mhm.
And that he thought it was like pushing people back more than anything else.
Hmm.
And with the color palette and scheme that we had, it was not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was not the owner.
Yeah.
He was just an advisor. So I
Okay.
went to the owner,
Mhm.
and the owner eventually said, "We're not going to have him on this design committee anymore."
Gotcha.
That
Yeah.
like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like he was just like he's off. He's like, we're gonna kick him off of Slack. He's not gonna be part of it anymore because that was like enough for the owner to go. No, like that was a bad decision.
Right.
So
Right.
I was like,
Okay.
oh, all right. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, sometimes clients can. I mean, a lot of the times clients can see things that we're not seeing because we're so
Mhm.
focused on like the objective, right, on the
Right.
project. So I honestly do want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay. So now to the fun part of this. Let's do a little live review.
sweet.
If somebody is watching, there's still time. You can pop your URL into the comments. We will see it, and we can look at your website, give you some feedback on your brand. If not, in the next 30 seconds, then we will be going to Google. Also, for those who are joining us, up above me is a QR code that will take you to Josh's website, thefinartist.com.
Hmm.
Awesome. All right.
Funny enough, I wasn't creative enough to think of a better URL.
It's easy. It's easy to remember.
It is, but
Sometimes that's more important.
I did read a book recently.
Mhm.
So any advisor watching, if your URL is taken, right,
Mhm.
the domain is taken,
Yeah.
add a verb to it. You know,
Okay.
so
Like,
like
go high level
yeah,
for yeah.
something fun, something that's very memorable.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, like when I was listening to the lady talk, I
Mhm.
forgot her name,
Mhm.
but I remember her website was eatmywords.com. And it was magical. I was just like, "Oh, it totally works because it worked on me."
Yeah. And
Mhm.
what book was this?
Eat my words. She has a brand naming agency,
Uh-huh.
extremely good,
Yeah.
extremely, it's just very informative and educational. I highly recommend anyone that's going through, like, brand naming to read it. It's very, very, just informative on anything. It'll definitely elevate your business's name.
I love that.
Yep.
Okay. Nothing in the comments, so we're gonna do some Google.
Cool.
First, let me make sure I share the right screen here. Replace screen sharing. There it is. I was like, of course I can't find it. And now it's gone.
I have too many tabs open, like, I would get them lost.
I tried to close a lot of my tabs before we started for that very reason. But for whatever reason, it didn't want to. Here we go. All right, we are in Google. Oh, as I talked about in a previous episode, we're gonna go to incognito. I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
to do that, so I gotta start this whole process over. I'm sorry. All
I
right.
watched a video earlier today. It was just on TikTok. Yes, I go on TikTok, and this lady says she had 110 tabs open on her Safari, and she just deleted them all. And she's like, I just feel like a little bit of my soul
I feel
just
empty
left.
inside.
Yeah,
Okay, so reminder, we do incognito so that it's not going to use my previous history to affect the things that pop up. So just name a city for me, Josh.
Cleveland. I don't know why.
Ohio?
Yeah, I was just it's because I listened to Baker Mayfield, a quarterback for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, talk about Cleveland Browns when he was with them. So
Go Bucks. I'm from
yeah.
Florida, so
Oh, nice, nice.
specifically Clearwater. So,
Ooh.
okay, so I skip over the sponsored ones.
Yep.
And then I go and I usually don't pick the top one and go
Yeah.
to like second or third. However, I am going to pick the top one. And the reason for this is I can see already that they do not have oh my gosh, can't say it. A
Favicon?
favicon. Which makes me think that this
It's
might be a
Monday.
this might be a good one to review. So
It'll be fun. Woo! All right.
immediately we've got a pop-up.
Yeah.
Retirement is right around the corner. I would say this title is catchy, but when you are looking at branding specifically, and
Mhm.
already I see that the colors here are not matching what's in the background.
Yeah. That's very apparent.
Okay,
Mhm.
we are on the homepage.
Mhm.
Josh, thoughts?
Yeah, the first thing that catches my attention immediately is like the navigation bar.
Mm,
Um, and I mean, there's a lot of like margin on the sides, which is
mhm,
okay, right? I
mhm.
mean, it looks pretty aligned, which is oh well, kind of. Um, but everything's everything's bunched up together.
Yeah.
It's so bunched up, in fact, is that the client access button, which is probably should be on the very
Yep.
right hand side, is actually below the home button, which is interesting.
Yes,
I
and this is
wonder.
full screen, and I do have a computer that has a
Mhm.
larger window than most
Yeah.
laptops, so
Mhm.
that means that even on, like, a normal size,
It's not responsive.
Yeah, it's down at the bottom.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like the logo there,
Mhm.
there's a lot going on. There's
Yes.
a lot. This is where less is more, is the idea, and
Mhm.
it should be the monogram that they have there, which is a script font CF looks like.
Yeah,
It's memorable right away, and it doesn't really need. I mean, it can be there. It can be. It can definitely. It can shrink in size.
right.
Um, your services that you have beneath it doesn't need to be there. Cleveland Financial Group on the right hand side, I probably would take that over the monogram. That way, people
Mm,
know exactly who you guys
yeah.
are and what you do. It's pretty self-explanatory what you do. The asterisk, I don't think needs to be there. Or no, that's not an asterisk. I'm sorry. That's the registered trademark. Um, but there's no hero. There's no
Yes.
story being
I was
told.
gonna say navigation caught your attention. First thing that caught me was I don't even know what to call this actually.
A
Um,
section about their services.
yes, and I actually at first thought it was a, blog. I thought they were starting with a
Mhm,
blog,
mhm.
but it's not. I don't well, actually, it might be if I click learn more. Oh, button doesn't do
Oh,
anything.
oh, okay, alright.
Okay, so a lot of room for improvement here, I would say.
Mhm.
Um, I'm wondering though, the list of services, the advice, investments, protection, retirement. I think that might be their tagline because they have the same thing as the header here.
Yeah. Y
Um,
you guys don't need it
I
twice.
right. Now, typically, I tell people because it used to be a trend several years ago, everybody would feature the town or city that they were from as the hero, and
Mhm.
most of the time I'd be like, "Why? This has nothing to do with what you're offering." However, I understand it here because literally their name is Cleveland Financial Group, so I
Yep.
think it's more understandable to what I assume is a picture of
Mhm.
Cleveland. However, I'm not from Cleveland, so I don't know.
I mean, they could have had Drew Barry on there. He had a show, the Drew Barry Show back in the day, and his
Oh,
whole, like,
yeah.
Cleveland
Hello,
Rocks,
Wisco wait,
you
didn't
know?
he say Wisconsin? No, that's that '70s show.
But, I mean, that has more personality than this. Like, no
Yes.
offense to the Cleveland Financial Group, but it took me more than 3 seconds to find a button on how to contact them. Like, there's no call to action button on there.
Yeah.
I mean, this website is an asset. This is your lead generator, so you're gonna want them to somehow schedule a call with you or to fill out a form for you to contact them.
Mhm.
That's not on If that's not on, like, the first screen that we see,
Mhm.
that needs to be fixed immediately because
Mm.
that's what's gonna earn you a revenue.
So, for those joining by audio only, we are literally just on the what I would call above the fold of the homepage. We haven't even scrolled at
Yeah.
all yet. As far as branding, I mean, there is clearly a color going on with the blue
Mhm,
and the red and
mhm,
white and gray. So at least so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down a bit here. Um, we already lose the colors in the pictures at the
mhm.
very least. We've got now bright fluorescent colors of post-its.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, this could definitely I would update a lot here. Every
Mhm.
single button says learn more. Let's see if they work this time. No, all buttons. Oh, no, that one. Okay, this one at least takes us somewhere. And this was the top result. I'm shocked. I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
they must have really good SEO
Yeah.
because
Well,
of their
actually,
name.
look at this. This page. So I clicked on one of the buttons that said learn more, which was specifically about the team. We got another pop-up.
Oh,
Um, and up at the top, we've got coding showing. Oh, shoot. My QR code's in the way. Here.
I was like, "Huh?
There we go. Up here in the top left, that
Oh,
yeah. So
interesting."
that's interesting. Um, Visually, I feel like this could be updated a lot. Just from a brand perspective, I mentioned the colors, but,
Mhm.
um, I think visually, like what we offer, I don't travel money. That doesn't make any sense to me. Our philosophy is somebody riding a bike.
Mhm.
No idea how that relates. And our professionals is the icon. If I were doing this, I would have maybe an icon, or I would at least have pictures that related to what the header is.
Mhm.
And I would change each of the buttons to say something different than learn more.
Mhm.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, there's really not a cohesiveness when it comes to the photos. Our
Mhm.
brain will first acknowledge colors, then shapes. So and then the words, right?
Yeah.
So if there's something that's not cohesive, it's gonna really like stand out like a sore thumb.
Mhm.
Um, it doesn't really match the brand personality, which is more. I mean, I do like the brand colors. I will say that because it reminds me of Colorado Avalanche NHL team.
Reminds me of
Um,
America.
yeah, that too, right? Um, but yeah, they can easily just take away the photos and have icons in place, and that would be better, right?
Mhm.
If the icons came from the same family and it was the same color, and the buttons were, different colors too,
Yeah.
it can definitely be much better, much better. Like this is a good starting point and a really good foundation to have.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, they know what they offer, they know they have their philosophy, and they know about like who they are. So that's like the most important thing. And now we just gotta like just visually like fine tune it, which is the easiest part.
Mm. Mhm. Although I'm gonna say I don't know if I agree because if I read the text, it feels very generic. Um,
Mhm,
what we offer, we educate our clients and take the mystery out of investing, insurance, conservation, and preserving wealth. Our philosophy, our financial planners have helped many people with unique stories pursue their financial objectives. I guess it's maybe better than what I've read on some other sites.
mhm. I
Our
wouldn't say
professionals,
mystery out of investing, like, this isn't
yeah.
Scooby-Doo with a mystery van, we're like, we're not trying to solve a mystery here. Um
Right, and our professionals, our team approach offers a range of services to provide more benefits to our clients, but I'm left wondering, okay, people with unique stories, well, that's literally everybody, so I have no idea if there's a niche here. Our
Mm,
professionals, um, you provide more benefits to our clients, but I still don't know what the benefits are. So,
yeah,
more benefits, more than what? I'm
mm,
kind of left wondering.
same here.
Yeah. Alright, moving down. We've got okay, we've only got 2 more sections and then their footer, so the
That's it.
next
That section right there, where do
yeah,
you want your financial roadmap to take you, is already an issue because we barely read it and we kept scrolling down,
yep,
which means that your clients, your potential clients, it's not gonna read all that text.
yes, yes. There's no image here, there's nothing to grab my attention.
Mm-mm. Text is too
Um,
wide, which is actually bad.
mm, it's wider than the navigation, actually, if you
Mhm.
notice.
Yeah, again,
I
like
mean,
your
I
nav
guess
bar
that's
is
because
messed up.
client access
Yeah.
probably went too far, but
Mhm.
yeah. And then we've got a form, have a question. Um, which, yes, I do have questions.
And who do you serve?
Yeah, yes. That's actually great. Who do you
Mhm.
serve? What do you offer? In fact, I think wasn't it if I click on what we offer, it just takes me to this page? Yeah, it just takes me to the top
Oh,
here. Same page we're on.
alright. Okay.
Um, all right, let's up at the navigation, we have about CFG. Oh, okay, here we go. I think this might be the niche. But you gotta really dig for it. So
Mhm.
under about CFG, we've got Cleveland Financial Group, our philosophy, our qualifications, and then we have executives, business owners, and retirees, which actually, now that I'm saying that,
Hmm.
that's uh,
CFG, don't have your clients look. And there's a lot of pop-ups.
Yes. Pop up. Want to be smarter with your money? Join our mailing list and get news and info to support your financial goals. I mean, I do like that call to action, but it doesn't. I don't know what I'm signing up for if I'm looking at the site before the pop up comes up. If that makes any sense, like
It does.
I don't have enough information to know if I want your support. I guess would be the way I would say it. Interesting. Oh, okay. I skipped right over that. Didn't see it.
They do a lot. They do a lot of
Yes.
stuff I'm not going to read about.
Yeah.
So this is,
We also have an asterisk on a couple things, and I don't. So normally, like business valuations, and then there's an asterisk, which would typically mean that there's more information about that at the bottom.
is there not?
There's not.
Oh,
So unless maybe this asterisk is referring to that. That must be what it is,
yeah.
which is not clear.
No, that shouldn't be a bullet point.
No. I also would love like some pictures or just something besides text. Yeah.
Agreed. There should be something there to want your viewer to keep reading. And
Yeah.
there is nothing here that would make me want to keep reading.
We're
I
both
would read the headline and then I would go to the next page.
right. You're a business owner too, Josh, right? Like as we're both business owners, there is nothing here that makes me feel seen and understood or that you would help me.
Right.
However, I'm not in Cleveland, which apparently is part of the audience demographic, I'm guessing by what we've seen so far.
Yeah. We know what they do. We kind of do and do not know how they do it.
Yes.
We definitely do not know why they do it.
Yes. Yes. All right. On that note, I'll go to Cleveland Financial Group. Okay. No pictures here, all text. I'm still shocked this came up first because SEO even doesn't seem like it would be great here. And one of the reasons I'm saying that is because on this page about CFG, we only have 2 headers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to the homepage because I want to show some people. So with SEO, if you go to, so if you're looking at a page, and I clicked the wrong thing, that's not what I wanted. If you're looking at a page and you're curious about like headers and such, you can click inspect. And so on the left, you will see the website, and on the right, you will actually see the code that is telling your website what to show. And so if I highlight on the left, it will also highlight it on the right, which is not happening. What I want to know is if they only have one H1, because that is, this is like all JavaScript. Oh, and it's also created by FMG Suite.
No way.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'm still.
I don't have a lot to say about that.
Finding. Okay. Oh, that is. So this is H2. I don't even see an H1. No. Head ID, head 1. So there's no H1 on this page, which is shocking that this was the first. Maybe there's just not many financial planners in Cleveland.
I'm hoping that CFG is paying FMG Suite for their marketing and not the website.
Agreed. I'm gonna guess it's just a templated website.
Yes. I do like with Nathan Russell, and everyone that I see on LinkedIn. I love what they have to say, but I'm just not. I've never been impressed by any of their websites. They always seem, like you said, very templative. misaligned, generic messaging. There's nothing that stands out, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. Our philosophy, serve first, last, and always. SM. Do you know what SM is?
I've seen it a couple of times, but oh man. It
What?
means service mark symbols used to indicate that a business is claiming trademarks rights for a service rather than a physical product.
So, with that in mind, I would have that as like the tagline up here
Mm-hmm.
rather than advice, investments, protection, retirement. I would have serve first, last, and always. That's way more powerful of a statement, I feel, um, of the brands.
Yeah.
It connects with me emotionally more than the other one. And I'm also now noticing that they have a trademark, which means it's, oops, they have a trademark next to the logo, which means that they've actually gone through, and it's like the R, not
Mm-hmm.
the TM. So
Mm-hmm.
if you see a TM, that means that it hasn't actually, you haven't gone through the trademark process, but you're like claiming it. And then if you have the R, that means that you've actually gone through the process of doing your trademark with the government. And so they've clearly done that, and that costs money and time. So they have poured money into this branding, is the point I'm
Yes.
trying to make. And I would be curious if the rest of their client facing, or actually I'll go to social media here in a second, if that um if it's stronger than the website, because I feel like the website isn't very strong at
Yeah.
this point. I'm gonna go ahead and click on this just to see. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Their Facebook group is not open to the public. LinkedIn wants me to sign, so it's not taking me to their business page. It's literally just taking me to LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
But they are on Twitter.
Yep. And they've never posted.
Oh no. And they joined in 2017. Interesting.
Huh.
Also noticing that the description is completely different from what we've read on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Consistent, smart money decisions make the difference. Follow for tips and guidance to help optimize your income and assets.
No tips.
What'd you say?
There's no tips. No
There's no
guidance.
tips. Also, Westlake, Ohio. They are not in Cleveland. Interesting.
I think Westlake is a part of Cleveland, right?
No idea. Yeah. Okay. So we are already about 13 minutes past. I would love to hear. I see we have a few people joining us. Do you have any specific questions over branding? Maybe our feedback on this website, or anything else that you're running into with your brand? Drop in the comments. Otherwise, I think we'll probably wrap up here because I don't want to take up too much of Josh's time. They have a lot of people working for them.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this, Josh. Let's
Not
count
one of
how
them
many.
said
1,
this.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and most of them are advisors. I would say at this point for this business, they could, and in my opinion, should invest a lot more into their website.
Yeah. But there are a lot of firms out there that have websites that aren't ideal to have, and a lot of them just run off of referrals,
Yes.
which we completely understand and get. But usually that referral is person to person, not business to business, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
that person were to leave, then well, so does those referrals, and then they're going to go to your website and they're going to look at it and think this is not ideal.
Right.
Then they're going to get very confused once they hop on this website and the learn more button doesn't go anywhere.
Yes. 2 of the learn more buttons.
And then they're going to be frustrated because within 7 seconds, nothing is working. And then they're going to exit and never come back. And I wouldn't be surprised if that hasn't already happened a lot.
Yes. I would like to see the bounce rates of their site. For those joining, a bounce rate would be if somebody comes to one page and bounces off. Therefore, the name of bounce rate. Typically, for our clients, I mean, especially if you're getting out in front of people who've they've never had any interaction with you before, bounce rates typically are higher. But I would want to see like 50% or less would make me happy. And I would love to know what their bounce rate is. I would guess that it's really high.
I would say so too.
Yeah, Insights is also.
They're still blogging technically.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, July 7th, 2025.
Okay, yeah, not too recent. Or pretty recent, I should say.
Yeah. It looks like maybe it was a quarterly thing because then the one before that was April. Oh, but then the one before that was September. So.
As long as he doesn't call it like a monthly blog, then that's okay.
Yeah. It looks like Jeremy, he must be the lead advisor because he posts all of them.
He's the head honcho.
They have had events. So last event was in January. And I want you to read off what the event was.
Digital experience updates happening January 27th. Yeah, but it looks like it was a streetscape or my streetscape. So
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's pretty much a platform for the clients to be able to see all their positions, documents, any news, trades.
Okay, so it's more or less they're going over
they're not going to be using
your client software. Yeah. Okay, because I was like, interesting, digital experience. I don't think the website is included in that.
Yeah, no, it's probably the client access. Like, oh, they have multiple offices too.
Yes, I was just looking at that one. Oh, well, apparently Medina is just one advisor, but there's I don't like how it keeps when I scroll, it just like
it jumps.
Yeah. Which I don't like at all. Like I can't read this at the top. Oh, there's another one. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I also how do you feel about contact forms, Josh? I'm kind of against them because I'm like, have you personally ever filled out a contact form?
No.
Yeah, I've maybe once or twice, and let me tell you, every time I have, I never get a response. So if you're gonna have a contact form, one, make sure you're responding.
Yeah. Like a Calendly link would be so much better. Like if it led to them, right? Yeah. And they know what time they're meeting with you or talking to you. And then you can have them, you can require them to put like why they want to meet with you.
Something else I'm noting is the second office doesn't have a phone number.
Oh.
So they each, I mean, there is a generic, that thing is driving me crazy. There is a generic info@clevelandfg.com. But then as I go, like each office has a phone number except for the second one.
Who knows? Maybe they're going through a rebrand right now and we have no idea.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome to see. I would be very happy. In fact, like if anyone from CFG or anyone that knows CFG is on here, like they can let us know and like, all right, cool. Yeah. I'm happy you guys are going through that process. They could easily be going through it. And if not, and they watch this, then they should contact you.
Yeah. Love the help with the website. Yeah, this is all. Oh, they have a lot of client access stuff going on here, which we have done some episodes about how the technology you're using affects your client's satisfaction. And so if you're using like a client portal, like that is assuming that the portal works well, that is a benefit to your client. I would be interested. They have so many though.
They do, because the question is going to be, which one do I click on?
Yep.
Your client really doesn't know what eMoney does.
Yeah.
They're
And
going to think,
then
oh, eMoney's where I'm able to see all my positions,
and clicking on it, there's no description, just takes me immediately off of the site. I will say good job on having it pop up in a separate window. That's a positive. So I can always go back to the original site. So anytime you're connecting to a third party site, you want it to open in a new window. But yeah, I think I would have a page, client access, and then a page, and then maybe a description under each of these on its own page. So I know as the user what I'm actually clicking on.
Yep.
Although I will assume that they're going over each of these portals with their clients in meetings.
You would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so.
There's like
Okay.
little things to clean up, it's not like
Yeah.
a total mess or anything like that, but yeah, there's no personality with this brand. I need Jeremy to add a little bit more personality to it.
Yeah, I would love a video of Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I have no concept of, there's no emotional thread, as we called it in a previous episode. There's no emotional thread for me at this point with their site. I'm also now realizing on the homepage, there's no pictures of people other than this one tiny bicyclist, which is a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah. Way to go, FMG.
That was Josh, not me. No. I am curious. I mean, this could be one of their older platforms because they did a lot of website updating, I think. I could be wrong.
But don't you pay like a monthly maintenance plan or fee to update your website?
No clue.
I'm pretty sure there is.
I feel like that would be correct.
Because it has been updated.
Yeah, it does say at the bottom, copyright 2025, FMG suite. I'm also noticing that securities investment advisory services offered through Mosaic Wealth.
So Mosaic Wealth has great branding too.
Well, I'm wondering. Oh wait. So I'm wondering if they're not an RIA.
No, Mosaic would be it.
Yeah, so maybe that also might be part of this. Maybe they don't have much control over their site. Hard to say.
It's true.
But if they do, these are our tips. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Any lasting thoughts or final thoughts, I should say, on branding?
Your brand is the gut feeling you get when you interact with that company. So there needs to be emotions. There needs to be a story being told. And if you cannot do that, then you do not have a brand. You have a product or a service that just has a name to go with it. If you want your clients to really resonate and stay with you, it needs to have a story. It needs to have personality. It needs to have a voice. It needs to have a style.
Yeah.
A lot of that, there's a lot of work that goes into that, but it will pay off dividends in the future. No pun intended there.
The dividends. I like it. Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much, Josh. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And for anyone joining or watching the replay, if you have questions, you can do a comment. You can tag either of us. We will see it and we will respond if you tag us. Awesome. Thank you so much. And for those joining, speaking of branding, I'm very excited. We are going to be releasing some Kevin Bacon videos in the near future. And I have a little sneak peek of the first one that we finished to end our time together today. Before I do that, make sure you join us next week. We're going to be talking about if you DIY your podcast, the 4 Ps that you should be following to make sure your podcast is a success. So that's next Monday. And then let me leave you with a little Kevin Bacon to show you and keep you motivated for the rest of the week.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bacon, CFP. Cute, fun pig. Before Savvy Advisor Marketing, I was just a jar of dreams. No niche, no leads, just loose change and a lot of hope. I thought marketing meant posting once a month and praying someone saw it. Spoiler alert, no one did. But then I got savvy. Now I've got a brand, a funnel, a waitlist of quarters. Seriously, quarters, not just pennies anymore. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm filming my next Piggy Tip Tuesday. Thanks, Savvy Advisor Marketing. And if you're a financial advisor still figuring it out, you should